In 1969, a group of astronauts changed the world. They walked on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In 1972, our journey ended. We've never been back. 2010 begins a year of change. Private companies are working on next-generation spaceships. Governments are looking to go back to the moon and on to Mars. It's time to look up and dream again. It's time to push humans into the cosmos. It's time to educate and engage the planet. It's time for Spacevidcast.
Welcome to Spacevidcast 339 for Friday, December 24th. It is the Christmas Eve edition, 2010. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham. With me, as always, on the phone is Carrie Ann Higginbotham. We are your Spacevidcasters, and we have got an action-packed, epic look at the past. Hey, we've got a bunch of new people in the chat room. It's probably in part due because we had such a phenomenal turnout for the lunar eclipse that just happened, and you'll have another chance to see a lunar eclipse on winter solstice in 2093. But yeah, so a lot of great new people. I don't know if you guys are aware. Anyone who's new in the room, if you would like a free copy of Mission Clock, just say something in the chat room right now. Let me know that you would like a copy of Mission Clock. And it works on iPhone, iOS devices, and stuff like that. See, spirit of giving, something. What else do we have? It was.
We don't want to give away anything else.
Oh, we have one of these.
We have
Look at that.
Really bad purple box.
It is a really bad purple box.
We have a purple box. Yay, a purple box!
Purple box. So we'll be giving away this Roku HD unit, or one like it, later on in the show. You'd think that if this was a dummy box, we'd come up with a better on-air demo unit, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it
looks. You can still see the shipping sticker sitting on top of it.
Box.
All right.
Just a thought.
So no one in the chat room wants a free copy of Mission Clock.
Nobody cares. Well, they probably all have one because they're space geeks like us.
That's true.
So totally understand.
If I may, by the way, for those of you watching on YouTube and expecting this to be the Space News Show, those are the Space Pods. This is a conversation show with the community. Join us live every Friday at 0200 hours. But you don't have the phone nebula. Oh, BZ, wow. All right, so a couple things. For those who want Mission Clock but have an Android phone, there is a piece of software somewhat like it called L-Clock. L-. Sorry.
It's a long-running joke.
It's not Mission Clock. I'll just straight up, it's not Mission Clock.
Not.
Different author. Mission Clock is
way cooler.
Way cooler. But it is still there. It will give you the mission rundowns and the time the missions occur. It doesn't give you the countdown clock or anything like that. It doesn't give you any of the events, but at least it's something. Also for Android users, you've got the SDO app, which is really cool, and the Space Weather app, which is also really cool. And what we really should do, if you guys want to help us out, send an email to Benjamin at Spacevidcast. Let's get a space app list going on the Spacevidcast website. So if you've got an iPhone or an Android phone or Windows Mobile any smartphone, which means no Blackberries. I'm just kidding. BlackBerry too, right? So I like, get a list of all the really cool spacey type stuff you can get on there. All right, on that note, let's go ahead and get started. As we had been talking about in the space pods, Space Shuttle Discovery, they did the tanking test where they filled it with 500,000 pounds of liquid-cooled fuel, made sure that it was actually going to work because we're all sick of going out there, going, let's launch, and then going, it's got to leak. It's got to crack. Now it's leaking and cracked. Now it's got more cracks and more leaks. So now they tested the tank. They were happy with the results. But just to be sure, they have actually rolled back Space Shuttle Discovery to the vehicle assembly building. And we have got 17 minutes of rollback footage. Check this out. There you go. 17 minutes of this. Should we show the whole 17 minutes?
I think we should. I think we should.
Yep, there it is. So what's happening is they're actually taking the vehicle back to the vehicle assembly building. They're going to then X-ray the backside of the external tank to make sure that there's nothing else going on that could be impacting a future launch date. If all goes well, then we're going to roll back to Pad 39A on January 13th, 2011, with a hopeful launch date of February 3rd, 2011. No earlier than February 3rd. That is the next launch window. So yeah, that seriously, it's like 17 minutes of this.
Which I think is brilliant, actually. I think it's fascinating. And,
All right, on that note,
yeah.
Virgin Galactic, little shakeup over there.
What do you mean? Are you serious?
Well, it's just
yeah, a
businessy
little
stuff.
shakeup is pretty much.
You want to take this one?
Sure. The current CEO, correct, is stepping down. I think it was back in 2007. He kind of went off to pursue other business interests of sorts.
Oh, we've actually I think he spoke at ISDC, 2009.
Yeah.
8.
It's Will Whitehorn, which I keep calling Will Wheaton,
Will Wheaton.
which I think is why Ben gave
What?
this one to me in hopes that I would screw that up.
Will Wheaton.
Oh, yeah, Will Wheaton apparently is stepping down from Virgin Galactic. You heard it here first.
Will Wheaton actually makes a really good bad guy, like
He makes
the
a
bad
really
like
bad
tech.
guy.
He's on Leverage.
Yep.
As the bad like super bad like I've got an ET gun hacker, and he's also on
Will Wheaton's
the
just
Guild.
amazing
He's on
anyway.
the Guild as the opponent guild's.
That's right.
Yep.
And sometimes wears a
Anarchy.
kilt.
He leads Anarchy on the opponent
Yeah,
guild.
which is actually kind of hot. Anyhow,
Evil Will Wheaton.
apparently evil Will Wheaton. No, Will Whitehorn is stepping down as CEO from Virgin Galactic, and in his place is George Whitesides.
So, for those who don't know, you're going to want to be sending George Whitesides lots of Christmas presents in hopes that you can get a discounted flight on Virgin Galactic. That's how that
And you
works.
also want to run a Yuri's Night party
Yep.
because he and his wife Loretta Hidalgo Whitesides started the Yuri's Night space parties 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
It's 10, isn't it?
10 years ago? 10 years ago.
Is someone
Sorry.
in the one of our
10
Yuri's
years
guys
ago,
in there?
2001. That would make sense because it was 1961, 1981, 2001, and now coming up this year, or then the coming year, is 2011. Not to get off of Virgin Galactic, but Yuri's Night is really awesome anyway, and you should be throwing a party regardless, and maybe, get the attention of Mr. George Whitesides.
I wonder if it was just a personal thing. I don't know if the article said it, but if it was just personal reasons, or if he just. I wonder why he stepped down. It's probably just a business thing, though.
Yeah,
I mean, they
I
haven't
would
even
imagine.
flown yet, and they seem to be having really good success with their test stuff
Yeah.
thus far.
But
Although
he's been
Quantum
working-
G will probably argue with me, but I think they're on track.
He's been working with Virgin for quite a while now, and
That just sounds funny.
I think he just anyway. Not going to go there until after the show.
Oh, but we will go there after the show. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, post show is a little different than the regular show. But anyway, so he's stepping down, and George Whitesides, who is the current president, will be president /
and
CEO of Virgin Galactic.
So
which
congratulations.
is very cool. So yeah, congratulations.
And before we get into the year in review, the FAA is helping Santa.
Well, I mean, Santa, he's got the entire world to navigate in one night, which even with all the different time zone conversions is still very difficult to do. So the FAA, with some of their new technologies that they are helping
Because, as we all know, the FAA builds technology.
Well,
So with the bleeding edge FAA technology, because when I think, well, here's the way this worked. We had
Yes.
the space age,
Right.
then we had the information age,
well, NORAD
and now
is
we're in
also
the
helping.
FAA age.
FAA is helping with NORAD to help navigate Santa to the houses 53% faster than last year. It's a proven fact.
It is a proven fact.
Star. If you hit the FAA website, it is right there, right on the front. I think it's FAA.com or .gov/Santa, and NORAD.gov/Santa as well.
I'm just glad that NASA did not improve. So it was the FAA that did this and not NASA. Had NASA improved the sleigh, they would have built it up to a 5-segment solid rocket sleigh. The problem is, of course, then the sleigh would shimmy off the roofs. It would shake all the presents out of the sleigh. And they just cancel the whole program.
You'd get any present that fell in your house.
That's
and
a
you'd be
Space
happy with
Santa
it.
joke, just so you guys know. That's how that works here. Come on, that's funny.
Anyway.
It was funny.
Wow, some presents are still They've just added to the space junk.
You know, let's start a
Sorry.
Santa 1X. It was mostly successful. It wasn't the real sleigh. It wasn't the real Santa.
Wasn't the real reindeer either. In fact, there was only 6 this time.
But it was the real brakes, and those failed. I'm sorry, hardcore space nerd jokes. All right,
the expensive Santa, poor Santa.
Let's talk about the year in review.
Goodness, yes.
Because we're coming up at year's end, and I think we sometimes forget how much stuff happened in 2010.
Yes.
And we mentioned at the very beginning of the year that 2010 would be a tipping point for space travel.
We also have it in every single one of our opens for this year.
Yes, so we mentioned it.
So you heard it just moments ago, so in case you forgot.
But a tipping point, and you might not see it right away. When you look back at it, you go, what happened this year that made it a tipping point?
Right.
But there was actually quite a bit of stuff that will have huge ramifications for human spaceflight from this year on.
Huge impact.
So I think when we go forward 50 years and look back, we're going to look back at 2010 as the year that everything changed. And let's start at the beginning of the year. And I was looking for some video, but I couldn't find anything really good because the president's speech wasn't quite. What I wanted was Bolden's speech, but that was audio only. And we're a video show. But Constellation was essentially canceled. It came to as a moderate shock, but Constellation's NASA's next generation space program. It consisted of Aries, Aries 1, Aries 5, Orion, and a few other programs as well, for us to go back to the moon, onto Mars, and explore beyond low Earth orbit.
And one of the coolest patches, I might add.
Actually, yeah, the Constellation patches, the whole branding for Constellation was nice. Yeah. I did like that. And, there were huge issues within the program. And what's interesting is when you go out in the street and you kind of listen to just the non-space geeks, the tech geeks talking about space, because they're not immersed in this.
Right.
They're kind of miffed. Like, I don't understand why NASA would cancel all this. This doesn't make any sense. But actually, it kind of did. The program was over budget. Well, over budget. It's really hard to be over budget when you've got a budget. But, right. But it was going to cost way more than originally anticipated. There were some pretty serious technical problems with the vehicle. It was going to be way, 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 way longer than it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
The idea behind Aries was that it was supposed to use off-the-shelf shuttle components to do it sooner, faster, cheaper. And none of those things ended up. Well, safer. Yeah, so it'd be safer.
Right.
Even Aries is safer than the space shuttle.
Right.
So that got canceled. But even after it was canceled, development has not stopped. So a little bit later on, we actually had the ATK continue to do the 5-segment solid rocket booster tests. We actually got a video. Remember this from earlier in the year. I think this is actually DM2, but there was DM1 as well. Here's the 5-segment solid rocket booster that they were going to use on Aries 1X.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
On for about 2 minutes.
It's still really cool, though.
It is.
It's still really cool.
It's cool, and that all turns to glass down underneath there. They just melt and scald the heck out of it.
That's what you can get me for Christmas.
They use a mountain to keep it in place. I can get you a 5-segment solid rocket booster.
No, you can get me a necklace of the glass.
That would be cool. Does anyone know if you can do that? ATK could make a bunch of money.
You know, because they could use some of the money, at least.
No, I think they're doing all right.
No, I'm kidding.
So they did the 5-segment solid rocket booster for the Aries program, but then even beyond that, we also tested Aries 1X. Remember this? Here you go.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And ignition and liftoff of Aries 1X. Testing concepts for the future of new rocket design.
Yeah, I don't remember where. This wasn't a very long flight, so I'm tempted to just let it roll.
It's still pretty.
It is
Altitude
pretty.
now 2 miles.
Now,
Vapor
wait.
pressure now tapering off as designed. The vehicle is aligned itself with the planned trajectory.
Waiting for a separation.
We passed Mach 1, and we're now passing Max Q. We have our Max Q system ID maneuver PTI engaged. Now passing Mach 2. Vehicle now 10 miles altitude, downrange distance 8 miles, and a velocity of 1,540 miles per hour.
Now they're mentioning
Plus
in the chat
80
room that this
seconds,
is.
we started our supersonic large
It's just like a
amplitude
launch
ID
event
maneuver
where I can't talk
PTI.
over.
We see the response.
Oh, it just looks cool.
It's no more than 2 minutes, so I'm
Yeah.
just gonna let it roll because it is cool. Look at that!
Oh,
And
it's
we started the
amazing.
last PTI maneuver, structural mode ID, and we passed T plus 105 seconds.
Reminds me of that
Vehicle's now
show,
traveling Mach
Aries.
4, 20 miles altitude, downrange distance 32 miles. The SRM tail off is observed. Burnout. Our APUs have shut
Now watch the
down.
separation.
CRDs have shut down. BDM fire.
I thought they
And
contacted
SEP.
there.
We show a SEP
Yeah.
and a
I don't
couple
think
motor
they did,
ignition.
but I actually
No.
thought there was contact there. Look,
We
I
can also
don't.
confirm on video.
Yeah, but
We see
yeah.
both parts of the vehicle tumbling, the first stage as well as the upper stage. Successful
so-
separation.
that was Aries
Good
1X.
clean signal all the
They
way.
were mentioning in the chat room that it had
plus
burned the
150
pad,
seconds.
which is correct. It actually had damaged the pad, but if I remember correctly, they anticipated that. The
Yeah.
pad hadn't been fully repurposed. It still had a bunch of shuttle stuff on there. And it did, when you watch it launch, you do see it kind of tip back like this. And if I remember correctly, that was planned. That was understood, and they knew that. It's not like they were like, "Oh, we burned the pad." It was actually they knew they were.
Ow!
Yeah, they knew they were going to burn said pad. So that was the Aries 1X, and just as we had showed you the 5-segment solid rocket booster, the Aries 1X did not use a 5-segment solid rocket booster or a proper upper stage or navigation or engines. So basically, it was a nice, really cool rocket.
The
But we
parachutes
did-
worked.
But no, they didn't. But we did those. We did that this year.
That's right, they didn't do that.
Nope.
Go on.
So moving on, we had the last flight of Atlantis,
Yes.
STS-132.
Yes.
And it may or may not be the last flight of Space Shuttle Atlantis, the best orbiter. In fact, this is modeled after Atlantis right here.
You can tell because it says adventure on the side.
Well, it has an A on it, so that's how that works. But yeah, this was the last flight of Space Shuttle Atlantis. STS-135, which is potentially the last flight of Atlantis, has been approved but not funded. So you can approve it all day long. If you don't put money behind it, it's not going to fly. So we won't actually say that that mission is a certainty yet until it actually gets funded.
Right.
But there are plans to actually fly Atlantis one more time. If it doesn't fly, then this footage we're about to show you will have been the very last time Space Shuttle Atlantis flew and Carrie Ann's first space shuttle flight. Check it out.
11, 10, 9, 8. Go for main engine start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 0 and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis, reaching the crest of its historic achievements in space.
Houston, Atlantis is in a roll.
Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Houston is now controlling. The roll maneuver is complete. Atlantis is in a heads-down position on course for a 51.6 degree, 136 by 36 statute mile orbit.
Well, right about now, we lost her.
Yeah. Oh, look, we're in that shot too.
And the three main engines on Atlantis have now been throttled down to 72% of rated thrust as the orbiter prepares to pass through the area of maximum
You know what's
dynamic
amazing?
pressure on the vehicle in the lower atmosphere.
Come back to us because I can't talk over them. Or kill the audio, I don't really care. The shots, the tracking shots, a good chunk of them, if you watch the video Ascent on YouTube, it's a 45-minute video, and they talk about how they do those tracking shots. It is a human. They've got an array of cameras. It's a human manually tracking the space shuttle from
Unreal.
miles and miles and miles away with insane, crazy lenses.
Yeah.
And they have to just manually move the camera in sync with the shuttle.
Which tracking it when you're standing and you're just looking at it with your eyes, that's one thing, right? When you're trying to get that close to it,
oh yeah.
that's a whole nother ball of wax, because you sneeze, you breathe incorrectly, something lands on your camera, you are SOL. Like, you have got to have just like, obviously he's not doing this, there's whatever, but unbelievable. That's amazing. Yeah, I always thought that they were just robotics, something or other.
Yeah, I figured they would have upgraded, but no,
something,
they've done it that way since essentially the beginning. And by the way,
Still
if you
works.
haven't seen the video Ascent, go watch that on YouTube. It is the best 45 minutes of your life.
It's beautiful. It's crystal
nerdy.
clear.
It's crystal clear. It's nerdy, but it is worth every moment of it. So yes. Speaking of the final flight of Space Shuttle Atlantis,
yes,
this entire Space Shuttle program was supposed to end in 2010.
Yes.
We should have had no more flights as of right now. We should
be crying about it right now
with the shuttle program. And I will point out, if Quantum G is in the room, in the very beginning of the year, Quantum G said, nope, it's going to go on. And I fought him on this. I'm like, no, there's not going to be funding. There's no way it'll go into 2011. And he was like,
he
nope.
owes us something now.
He what?
I think he owes us something now.
Why does he owe us something?
I don't know. It was kind of like one of those like, I will bet you.
No, but he was right. I was wrong.
Oh, so we owe him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. 2 more shuttle flights in 2011. STS-133 has been delayed due to those tanking issues. So that will not happen until February 2011. STS-134 got pushed out of STS-133 is in 134 slot, essentially, so they had to push that back. And STS-135 hasn't been funded yet, but there's a chance that that will happen as well. So now we're looking at 3 additional flights in 2011. Now, what's interesting is there's a debate going on in the chat room. Yeah, exactly. Now Quantum is saying 2011 won't be the end either. It could be 2012, and I'm not going to debate him on that because I have learned to just listen to Quantum. And he might be right. Why not just extend it one more time? Just leave the vehicle there, and you're going to sing the song?
I can't.
So yes, while 2010 was not the end of the Space Shuttle program itself, it was the potential beginning of the end with the final flight of Space Shuttle Atlantis. And I think they're just going to kind of keep the Space Shuttle going for a little while. Although that brings us, Kath, I'm going to flip these next 2 items because it's a better segue this way. Falcon 9 flights 1 and 2 happened this year.
Yes.
Lest we forget, this was the year of commercial space.
Yes.
And it was essentially SpaceX that did it. But even at the end of the year, we've got the Taurus from Orbital Sciences, the engines for that being tested. We did a space pod on that. That was a successful test. So, but we had the successful flight of Falcon 9 Flight 1 and Falcon 9 Flight 2 with the Dragon and COTS demonstration. So here's a clip of Falcon 9 Flight 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff of the Falcon 9. Stage 1. Pitch kick. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
I love the shot of that. Go!
First stage engines and tanks. Looking good.
Getting gravity turn.
It's kind of, it's interesting because you can't quite hear it up here comes down, but as it gets further and further along, especially when you've got a Spacecat.
Stand to lock on both stages. Power systems nominal.
You can hear the cheer. You hear
First stage
Dragon
propulsion
separated.
is
And you
nominal.
hear just this wild eruption of cheering in the background, just for a split second. And what's interesting is that you just don't get that on the NASA launches. And maybe it's just because they've done this for so long, it's just a second nature to them. But it was really cool to see the human side of the launch with Falcon 9 Flight 2, specifically when Dragon separated from the spacecraft successfully and then orbited the Earth successfully, landed, and was recovered successfully. So that was a huge milestone achievement.
Yeah.
The beginning of a spaceflight industry, which is different than a spaceflight program. Today we have a spaceflight program, but we don't have a space industry.
Yeah, when one guy is doing it, it's not an industry.
So this is the beginning of something completely new. This could potentially change how we humans get to space. And right now, it's looking for cargo only to the International Space Station, in addition to private loads into low Earth or geosynchronous orbit. But you know, Dragon can be human rated, and it looks like Dragon could even be rated to go to the Moon or Mars and take the reentry back into Earth potentially. And actually, I'd like to know, on that flight that you just saw, SpaceX sent up a wheel of cheese, right? It's considered a wheel of cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a wheel.
Wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened to that cheese. So it was funny, yes, it was funny. It was ha 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 ha. But now I want to know, did they eat the cheese? Are they going to sell the cheese on eBay as space cheese? Are they going to mount the cheese on Elon Musk's wall?
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, right? So who gets the honors of going, hi, would you like to have some cheese that has flown into space?
I don't consider that an honor. Is that weird?
It was encased in epoxy? Really? Was it really?
You can still open that up if you need to.
The cheese must have been worth hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. Oh, wouldn't it be kind of... I think they should have brought it back and then had like a little eating the cheese ceremony at SpaceX. Be like, you know.
They could just get a different wheel and pretend.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but that's not the same.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, anyhow. So that happened this year. That happened not that long ago. Falcon 9 Flight 2. But that's not the only commercial space that's happening.
But wait, there's more!
But wait! If you call now. Now, not flying yet. Virgin Galactic has been doing tests and making good progress on both White Knight 2 and Spaceship 2. And the nice thing about Virgin Galactic is they know how to put on a show. And when they're going to roll out Spaceship 2, they're going to roll out Spaceship 2.
Yeah.
Here's just a small clip, just a little bit of the White Knight 2, I'm sorry, the White Knight 2 and Spaceship 2 rollout. Check this out.
Richard Branson coming from the music industry. Yeah, I think he knows how to throw a party.
Oh yeah. Dude, they got the lights on it. They got the. Look
This
at that.
would be the
Look at that.
ugliest thing ever made, and people would still be wildly excited about it because of the presentation.
SpaceX, take note.
In fact, this could be a wheel of cheese.
When you roll the Falcon 9 out to the pad, you should do this every time. Exactly. Music,
Go,
lights
girls.
coming on. Yep, you got the strobe lights. Yeah, it's Falcon. It's Falcon. It's your birthday.
Even if that's real fog, you should have fake fog. Just in case.
The other interesting tidbit about this little party, you see they all have those coats there. The Spacevidcaster Tim Bailey, or Tim846, or Tim in the chat room, has one of those coats, and I am extremely jealous. If anyone can get me one of those coats. And the worst part is, he lives in Florida. He doesn't need a coat.
He wears it once a year.
I live in the tundra of Minnesota. I would love one of those coats.
Just a thought.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't think Tim's in the room.
So you want a virgin coat, and I want a glass necklace.
Yes.
All
See,
right.
I guess this is the wardrobe show. What can you say? Now, in addition to that, there's other video as well. But the basics are they have been doing flight tests with White Knight 2, which is the carrier craft. And they had some issues, but it seems like it would land and just kind of scrape across the runway. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good. But it sounds like they've worked most of that out. And then they've even gone so far as drop tests with Spaceship 2, which is the module you would fly in. They haven't actually lit the Spaceship 2 engine yet.
Right.
So we haven't taken Spaceship 2 into space, but we have put humans in Spaceship 2 and dropped them and successfully landed. So we're getting closer. The thing with Virgin Galactic is they will fly when they're good and ready, and they're not going to give us a target date. They want to make sure the craft is safe. They want to make sure it's reliable. They want to understand it fully.
Right.
And so,
which makes sense. It's just frustrating.
It is, right? Because we all want to go to space, and we all want to go there yesterday. And so we want them to fly now, and we want them to fly at a fraction of the price that they're flying at.
Right.
Because we know the sooner they fly, the sooner they're going to be able to figure out how to get their costs down. But at the same time, we don't want there to be an accident.
Right.
That would be bad.
Right.
But it's interesting that 50 years ago, we were taking suborbital flights in the Mercury program, and now mere mortals will be able to do that. Those flights were way more expensive than even these Virgin Galactic flights.
And scary and dangerous.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And now we're finding a safer way to do it on a much broader scale. Certainly, the beginning of the industry, the very, very beginning. We're not talking about something that I can't afford to go.
Right.
Many of our viewers can't afford to go, but some of them might be able to, and that's new. If you go back just 1 year to 2009, the cost to go to space was $35+ million. Now, in 2010,
Scary.
we're working on taking that cost and driving it down to $200,000. Didn't happen in 2010, but it will happen shortly, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. So that's a big dip between $35 million and $200,000.
Yeah.
Still very expensive, but what happens when it gets cut in half again, $100,000? Okay, still expensive. What happens when it gets cut in half again, $50,000? $50,000 is the price point when a lot of us, the real, I like space, like those types like me, yeah, we'll figure out a way to, right? I mean, come on. We'll figure out a way to make that happen.
I didn't say that.
Is BZ Wing Zero said $50,000 is a luxury car. Luxury car or be one of the few humans to experience space.
Right.
Luxury car, space. One lasts 10+ years, one lasts
But one's a
6 minutes.
once in a lifetime experience.
That's true. That's true.
And as Flying Jenny pointed out, thank you, I totally forgot, Tim is moving to DC, so he's going to love that jacket. Love that jacket.
You know what? That's his punishment for having the jacket. Him having to move to a colder climate.
In order to use it?
I
Is that what
spite
you're
you,
saying?
Tim. Yes. I spite you, Tim. I spite you.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, anyhow. So yeah, that's a bit of what's happened this year in 2010 inside of space.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it, right? There was a lot more that's happened as well. There are other companies that are working on commercial space, but this was the year that a space industry was born. Now, you're not going to see a whole lot come out of it this year. Obviously, SpaceX excelled and beat our expectations, but other than SpaceX, not a whole lot more out of the commercial space industry this year or even next year. But 2012 is when you're going to, I think, see the fruits of our labor in 2010 come to fruition. How do I want to complete
Fruits,
that?
fruition. Ripen?
Right?
You'll see more.
Yeah, so on that note, did you guys in the chat room, I mean, we've just been talking the whole time. Did you guys have anything that we forgot? Oh, LRO L-Cross. I forgot LRO L-Cross.
Yes.
We bombed the moon in 2010, and the moon retaliated. The aliens on the dark side. So that was an awesome. Well, it was nice, and albeit for some of the wrong reasons, but it was nice that a NASA project got national attention, especially kind of a skunkworks project like L-Cross. And then LRO, if you just saw the space pod recently, is getting some really good detailed maps of the moon,
it's really
and
amazing.
they look really psychedelic and cool.
Don't forget the box.
I know. I know.
Okay.
That's why I have my arm over it.
You just look a little too comfortable. We often don't normally wear the same color.
Yeah, that's
as well.
weird. On that note, did we forget anything? The eclipse happened, Space Up happened, and Space Up will continue to happen. That's going to be cool.
Japan.
JAXA. Oh,
Yeah.
they sent a probe. Yeah, so a bunch of really cool stuff happened in space, but those are the big highlights for the year. So 2010 was a really good year for space travel. That's our point.
There you go.
On that note, bam! I know some of you in the chat room said that you were watching on your high definition television. How, pray tell, do you watch on your HDTV?
I have no idea. How does that happen?
You use one of these boxes. This is a Roku box. There are many different types of these boxes. These are little internet set-top boxes. You plug your internet connection into one port and then your HDTV into another port, and you can watch internet TV.
When you
on
say
your
little, it's like this
It is.
big.
It's tiny. Can we open?
It's like a little chiclet.
This one's sealed because we're giving it away.
tiny,
But yeah. So and I even gave one to my parents, and they watch Spacevidcast on there. You can watch the live shows. So you can watch. Hi. So you can watch Spacevidcast live as well as when we're doing filler content of like NASA TV and all those live launches that we cover. If you were unable to see the lunar eclipse that just happened, the winter solstice lunar eclipse, we did cover that in high def on our channel as well. That particular one, we broadcast in high def, but our source material was not high def. But
It was still pretty.
Much of North America was covered in clouds, and we were one of the few places that actually had a shot of the moon that you were able to mostly view. It was as Eeyore said, we were #1 on the NASA list for viewing sites for the and you could have watched that on your HD TV. When we've got other launch events, such as STS-133, why do you want to watch it in a little window on your computer? We broadcast because...
Or on your phone.
On your well, yeah, and you can watch it on your phone, your Android phone, your iPhone, your iPad. You can watch it on all that. But Perforce has sponsored high-definition coverage of Space Vidcast, and especially for shuttle launches where you're getting true HD, it looks amazing.
Like on one of the TVs behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one of these bad boys over here. Get your family and friends together. Let them know this is the last moment you're going to be able to see a space shuttle ever launch. Why watch it on a little computer screen? Watch it on your HD TV. It's time to pick up one of these Roku boxes. If you don't have one, you can grab one off of Amazon.com or Roku.com. Or if you happen to be watching live, we need to choose a winner now. Someone in the chat room, who would like to win this Roku box? Carrie Ann, give me a number. Between 1 and 10.
7.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the pork chop said Flying Jenny would. That would be 7.
Flying Jenny would. She confirmed that. So I guess if pork chop already has one, so does that mean that Flying Jenny wins?
So how do we? Did I count wrong?
I don't know. The pressure.
Oh, because I didn't count Pete. That's why. Ooh, that's tricky. Should we just give away 2? Spirit of the holiday season?
We did skip a couple shows.
You know what? We'll give away 2. Flying Jenny, congratulations, you won 1. And because we couldn't actually determine how to count to 7 in that particular one, who was the other one that won? It was a new user in the chat room. It was Nebula 1701, I think it was.
All right, so Flying Jenny, I've got your address, so you'll be getting it some
And then Nebula
time.
1701, make sure to contact us, Benjamin@spacevidcast.com. We need your shipping address so that we can send you out your Roku box. And again, we're giving one of these away on each of our live shows until Space Shuttle Discovery launches, which was a bad idea.
I think it's never going to go.
Oh my gosh, what a because it's not like they don't give these to us. I mean, we got a couple of these to give away, but we don't have just
We
a
bought the
stockpile
rest of them.
Yeah, we're buying them out of the Space Vidcast funds for you guys. So, yeah,
Expect us to see in the same shirts for the next, 10 shows.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. It's possible that this will be our last show for the year. We're not entirely sure yet. We may have one more, we may not. Watch our Twitter account, watch our website. We'll keep you updated as to the status of the next show. But we'd like to thank everyone for watching and everyone who helps make Space Vidcast possible. And, a huge shout out to someone who has helped for years now and has gotten very little mention on the show, and has week after week helped us out, and that's Calf right behind us,
Adam,
who is our director for the show. This is his coffee shop. This is his. That's creepy, Calf. That's just creepy.
The cat burglar behind us. That's the guy we want to thank.
This is his coffee shop. He let us set up here and basically take over the entire back end of the shop. He let us set up a huge,
ugly satellite outside.
He works here for. He comes Thursday after Thursday after Thursday without hesitation. Without complaint, and directs our show.
Without us.
Yeah, exactly. When we forget to tell there's no show.
By the way, we're not doing it. No, it's okay. Thanks.
And he never says boo, never asks for anything in return, and this show would not function even remotely close to as well as it does without Adam in the background. And absolutely, there are a lot of people that help out with the show, but certainly no one more than Adam, who is a phenomenal asset to have. So I just wanted to personally thank him, at the very least this week, if not again next week, for everything he does for Space Vidcast. That's also creepy. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone for watching us. Stay tuned to our Twitter channel and website for updates as to when the next live show is. And we'll see you either this year or beginning of next year. See you guys.
Beam again. It's time to look up. It's time to look up. In 1969, the astronauts changed. On the moon. In 1970, our journey. We've never